Let me ask you something honest. Is there something you have been putting off? Something you actually want to do, something that matters to you, but every time you think about starting it, something stops you? Not laziness. Not even time. Just this quiet, heavy feeling sitting in your chest that whispers, what if it does not work out? So you wait. You tell yourself you will start when you are more ready. When the timing is better. When you feel more confident. And the days pass. And you still have not moved. And deep down you know exactly why. You are afraid of failing. And that fear, that one feeling, is costing you more than any failure ever could. Today, that ends. Here is what fear of failure actually looks like in your real life. It looks like a business idea you have been carrying in your head for months but never written down because you are scared it will not work. It looks like a conversation you need to have but keep avoiding because you are afraid of how the other person will react. It looks like a job you want to apply for but you talk yourself out of it before you even send the resume. It looks like a skill you want to learn but you never start because what if you are not good at it? You are not avoiding the action. You are avoiding the imagined pain of what might happen after the action. And here is what makes this so damaging. The fear you are feeling right now, sitting with the thing you have not started, that fear is not protecting you. It is punishing you. Every single day you sit with an unlaunched idea, an unsent message, an untried attempt, you are not safe. You are stuck. And stuck is its own kind of suffering, just quieter and slower. The worst part? The thing you are so afraid of, the failure itself, has not even happened. You are not dealing with failure. You are dealing with the thought of failure. And you are letting a thought, something that does not exist yet, run your life. That is the trap. And there is a way out. Seneca was one of the most powerful men in Rome. He was an advisor to emperors, one of the wealthiest people of his time, and one of the greatest thinkers who ever lived. And he spent years studying one question that most people are too afraid to even ask. What is the worst that could actually happen? He called this practice Premeditatio Malorum, which simply means, imagining the worst before it arrives. Not to be negative. Not to be pessimistic. But to take away the power that fear holds over you. Here is what Seneca understood that changed everything. Fear is not the enemy. It is the unknown that makes fear so powerful. When you refuse to look at the worst case, your mind fills in the blanks with something far scarier than reality. You build it up in the dark until it feels impossible to face. But the moment you actually look at it, clearly and calmly, it shrinks. He wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Read that again. More in imagination than in reality. The failure you are terrified of, if you actually sat down and looked at it honestly, is almost always survivable. Almost always. You would get back up. You would figure it out. You have done it before. But because you never look directly at it, it stays enormous. And enormous things stop you before you even begin. Seneca's answer was not to be fearless. It was to be honest. Look at the worst. Sit with it. Realize it will not destroy you. And then move. That is what today is about. Here is how you actually use this today. Not as a philosophy. As a method. Step 1. Pick the one thing you have been avoiding because of fear of failure. Just one. The thing that came to your mind the moment I said that sentence. Write it down. Do not overthink it. Write the actual thing, not a watered-down version of it. Be honest with yourself. Now ask yourself this question and answer it on paper. What is the absolute worst thing that could realistically happen if I try this and it fails? Not the dramatic version. The realistic version. You try, it does not work, and then what actually happens? Write it out fully. Let the fear become a sentence instead of a shadow. Step 2. Now look at what you wrote. And ask yourself this. Have I survived something this hard before? You have. You may not feel like it right now, but you have already been through things that once felt impossible and you are still here. That is not a small thing. That is evidence. Evidence that the worst case, even when it lands, does not finish you. Ask yourself one more question. If the worst happens, what is my next move? Just one move. You do not need to solve the whole thing. Just the next move after failure. The moment you can answer that, failure stops being a wall and starts being a road. A hard road, yes. But a road you can walk. Step 3. Now flip it. Ask yourself, what is the cost of not trying? Not the dramatic version of that either. The honest one. Another month of sitting with this. Another year of watching the idea collect dust. The slow, quiet drain of a life where you chose safety over the thing that actually called to you. Most people never calculate that cost. They only calculate the cost of failing. But not trying has a cost too, and it compounds every single day. Your action target today is to write out your worst case clearly, look at it honestly, and take one real step toward the thing you have been afraid of. Not the whole thing. One step. Send the message. Write the first paragraph. Make the call. Apply for the role. One step. That is the whole job today. I want you to sit with something for a moment. Every person you admire, every person whose life or work or courage has ever moved you, every single one of them felt exactly what you are feeling right now before they did the thing that changed everything. The fear did not go away before they started. They started and the fear came with them. They moved anyway. Fear is not a stop sign. It never was. It is just a signal that something matters to you. And the things that matter to you are exactly the things worth doing even when they are terrifying. Seneca did not tell you to be unafraid. He told you to look at the fear directly and realize it is smaller than you think. Because once you see it clearly, once you name the worst case and realize you can survive it, something shifts. Not the fear. You shift. You stop waiting for the fear to leave and you start moving alongside it. That is what courage actually is. Not the absence of fear. Movement in the presence of it. The version of you who keeps waiting for the perfect moment, for the guaranteed outcome, for the feeling of complete certainty before acting, that version never moves. Because certainty never comes. But the version of you who looks at the worst case, nods, and says, "All right, even if that happens, I will still be standing," that version changes everything. You have been carrying this fear like it was a reason to stop. Starting today, you are going to carry it like proof that what you are chasing actually matters. The person who started this video was letting an imagined failure stop them from living a real life. The person finishing it now knows that the worst case has a name, and named things lose their power. You are not the same person who pressed play. You already did something today that most people refuse to do. You looked at the fear instead of turning away from it. That alone puts you ahead. Here is your one sentence to carry with you today. Face the worst clearly. Realize you will survive it. Then move. Drop your worst case in the comments. One sentence. What is the thing you have been afraid to try, and what is the worst that could actually happen? Write it out. Because the moment it leaves your head and hits the page, it stops being a monster and starts being something you can actually deal with. Write it. That is where it starts.